it's coming up. I can see the storm coming in.
All I gotta do is keep an eye out right here.
Are you doing
It's
Twitch or
live, sir.
Netflix?
What?
Are you doing Twitch or YouTube?
YouTube.
Oh,
I was like, Netflix? I
yeah.
don't do Netflix. Just turn down my volume so we don't get the echo. Actually, let's make sure that the sound's working. Hello, hello? My mic likes to be a pain in the butt.
That's pretty quiet from right here.
The mic. Hello, hello. So I hate like the delay on the feeds.
Yours is faster than mine is.
Hmm?
Your phone's faster than mine is.
You doing me one more favor?
Yep.
You grab my laptop for me?
Yes.
Oh, I guess I can't push that in. Should I keys? I was gonna say just run it through like this bottom part right here. I can just grab it. That way I can get everything all switched and changed out. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Mr. Hogan and D Blaze. We are here to do some D&D talk today. I think it's got enough charge. I don't really have it plugged in. So just run it through like this bottom part right here. Let me know if you guys can hear everything okay. I think it's just me and you right now. So
I think it is too.
we had somebody, but I need to switch.
3 people watching, so someone's there.
Yeah, but mine's back down to 2.
Oh shit.
Oh, don't tell me this is gonna take forever. I don't. It's hard to run OBS with the internet. Everything starts to lag out. Come on. Load. Oh, I was like, what? We're just getting started, getting everything finished, set it up. I think today what we're talking about, more of our game campaign. People were asking about it, so we will talk about that. If you have any questions about D&D, ask away. Matt's pretty smart with it. Hello, hello. Sierra said hi.
Oh. Hey.
Hey. It's the white girls. Hey.
Hey.
Oh. When you look up and you see Trevor in his underwear. Ugh. Yeah, so if you want to talk about how you came up with the idea of how we started out, for people who don't remember, it's been a couple weeks, but when we started our campaign, we started above the normal realm, like you have Earth, and you have the Cloud City of in Star Wars. It's a little different, but so yeah, how'd you come up with that concept and ideas, sorry?
Yeah, so like I said, a lot of my ideas are from whether it's another game, another fantasy, movie, just things that I like to see, that I like to do. Other ideas are just stuff I've looked up online, but really creating the world and the idea was, a lot of it was probably from Zelda, because I looked at Skyward Sword and I thought, oh great, there's a cloud city above, and then below is the actual world, so I wanted to do kind of like a new take on it, where essentially in the before time, the way everything started was everyone was down below. People, races, certain religions, certain deities got too powerful, so a group of deities gave all their people and all their followers, and they brought them up, created the city above. Because the bottom of the world was essentially going to waste. Think of it like a giant nuclear war was about to happen, and they were the ones that saved everybody.
Like Chernobyl.
Yep, just like Chernobyl. So, what happened was, they let everyone go up above. So, at the beginning of the campaign, and this was probably 500 years in the future after that, you have the people up above. Everyone up above doesn't really know what it's like below. They just think it's the whole world is destroyed, no one goes down there, because all they see is just the darkness of clouds, kind of over the edge.
It's kind of like the sequel for Cloverfield. Remember with John Goodman?
Yeah.
The girl had no clue. Everybody in there thought it was normal outside, and he was just lying. But it really was, spoiler if you haven't seen it, it was like John Goodman said, it was taken over by aliens. So.
Yep. Except it's not taken over by aliens, but yeah. Same exact idea. So, the way I wanted to start out, and I spent several weeks thinking of this, is how can I show a group of new people where only a couple of them had played D&D before. Some had played it, like 20 years ago, so rules are way different. Rules from 4 to 5 are different, because we play 5e. And I want to do something to show, hey, here's a fun way to start out instead of, your traditional, we're in a bar and we meet people.
We're in a dungeon, there's a dragon.
Yeah, we're in a dungeon, there's a dragon. I want to do something fun. So I came up with the idea of having a fun kind of like gladiator contest where I put them all each in their own room to start with. They each had like their older, wiser mentor, kind of like a city leader, if you kind of want to think of it that way, or trainer.
There's an anime that's kind of like that Clint watches. Jeez, I'm so horrible with animes.
No, you're good. I can't think of...
Because Madison loves it. But, sorry guys, that was just a tangent.
So, I want to do something fun. So they each started in like their own room, kind of think of like their own little room before going out to, compete in the gladiator arenas. It was supposed to be a non-death one, just kind of for fun, for sport, but, you had to go with the intent to kill type of thing. They all knew that. They all each had a city higher elder there to, you could ask questions to, and then they each gave you something, an item.
That's getting ahead of the story, Sierra.
Spoiler, Sierra. So, anyways, so I just kind of went around in a circle. Some people would roll for initiative at that point, which essentially tells you, kind of who goes first. But I just went.
Roll for initiative?
Yeah. So I just kind of went with, hey, who wants to go first? Because a lot of people didn't know what to do. So someone went, hey, I'll go, and I wrote out on paper all these different items, and essentially, I also had all these different characters. So whoever went first, I just went down the list, and that's what item they got, and that's who the character they got. It was all random. They didn't know, and when I gave them the item, no one else knew what that item was. So went down the list. They asked if they knew, anybody about them. Some of the town's leader were older, and they had information to give. Other people got, unlucky, and they had, the leader's nephew who was filling in that didn't know jack crap about the event. So he wasn't really a whole lot of help. But I think he gave some gold and alcohol or something because someone threatened him.
Yeah, I wonder who that was. And for anybody wondering, how you roll for initiative is you roll a d20. D20 is pretty much anything where if you want to check anything.
Yeah. So a d20 is like your best friend dice type of thing.
Yeah. You want to have at least, I think I have like 6 d20s because it's like you want to. It's kind of like a superstitious thing where you roll it and if you get on hot streaks and then all of a sudden you get like 1s, 2s, and 3s. Then you can switch it out. You don't really have to do it, but I know a lot of people who do that.
Yeah.
If the dice is getting really bad for them, they switch it.
Yeah, but if you are playing D&D, you at least want the basic 7 pack of dice. You don't need 3 sets of them, but at least get the 1. I know we talked about it before in the.
Get a cool bag.
in the last
These-
D&D video.
What? These are percentage dice.
Percentage dice, yeah.
The percentage dice where I don't know if I can hold it up and you'll see it because it'll focus on. Yeah, see how it says 30? That's 30, not 3. But that's your percentage dice. It's because it's like a D10, but instead of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, it's
Percentile.
Percentile, which I don't think I don't know a lot of games where you use it.
Yeah, there's very few scenarios. Like, we probably won't use it at all, or maybe very little. Haven't used it yet. Anyways, so after everyone got their items, some guys got good items, some guys got bad items, but all the items were evolved around. They were kind of either like weapons or a spell, something that helped give them the advantage. And some weapons might not have seemed that great, but it was also using the creativity with that item.
I still have mine.
Yep. So essentially, when the team went out to fight, we had a rock gnome who was a druid. We had a ranger. We had two dragonborns, and a fighter. So they all go out to fight, and right away we had 2 girls in the campaign at the time. They teamed up. So 2 of the guys teamed up, and our druid friend just started playing his little instrument because he didn't know what to do.
We asked him to join up with us, and he was going. He said I was, but then he like kind of didn't. You know, it was. I think Jacob was doing the smart thing, and
yeah, because no one knew what he was doing, but he's a pretty smart guy, and what he did was essentially put a ring of fire around him, and then just started playing a musical instrument to conjure up lightning, and everyone's like, "Oh my goodness!" But this is kind of where, you know, when you're playing, use your imagination. One of the dragonborns that was in it, he got a net. What he could have easily done to the druid when he let the fire circle around him, and I was hoping he would do it, was throw the net over him. It would have caught him on fire, then he would have been out of the game. But he never did that. So then the fighting went. Someone got their eye shot out.
the other dragonborn.
And wasn't very happy about that. And he was the first one out. Then after everyone was out, the druid won. And then I wanted to reward them by giving them each, you know, an item essentially for the place they got in. So first place got it, you know, the best item. Last place was essentially the guy that lost his eye. He just got a replacement eye, and he's a little upset about that. But you know what? That's what D&D is about. You can't always win. Sometimes you're gonna have upsetting moments. And man, he was not happy. But you know, in the next couple campaigns later, days later when we were playing, I kind of gave him the opportunity to improve his eye ability. So
you gave him the fake eye.
Yeah, so I gave him the ability to either, and he could have picked, use dark vision, or get it so you could actually take your eye out, throw it, and look around corners. I thought they were both pretty good. He went with dark vision, which I probably would have went with the other one, but to each their own. Then what I want to encourage everyone to do is, on day 1, you want to have probably a very exciting event. Don't just have, hey, we're in a bar, a dragon attacks everybody. Now what?
Because dragons are almost impossible to kill.
Yeah.
Like ancient dragons are impossible to kill unless you're one yourself.
Yeah, it's pretty insane unless, you know, you're like level 18, 19, 20. Because, oh my goodness. So, the way I did it, and like I was trying to say is, you know, I encourage everyone to do this, is come up with something exciting. So, what I did was a giant metal rod struck the ground. Everyone freaked out, and all of the elders tried to destroy it. And as they attacked it, lightning shot out and disintegrated all of them instantly. So, why I came up with this idea is to show that, hey, this thing's powerful, you don't want to touch it, it will kill you. And off and on they'll see it throughout the campaign, and it's a signal of the main bad guys they're going against, which is the Shadows of Righteousness, or as everyone else calls them, the Men in Black, because I said it once because they are men that wear black. So they go Men in Black. But hey, whatever's easier for them to know. So as that happened, their whole world above started crumbling, and it was pretty chaotic. Wouldn't you say so, sir?
Yeah, because we're all trying to find a way to survive, and I think that the main point was that we were supposed to fall down.
Yep.
And it was funny because, like, I think it was Jacob and Ed, I think, fell first, and me and the two girls were running, and I think it was Brittany who fell next. I think Sam was the last one to fall.
I think she was too.
And then I went, and then Sam, yeah. And it was all based on, like, how you roll the dice is
so
determine when you're going to fall.
Essentially the way it worked out, and I tried to come up with the most chaotic scenario is they're running out, they run through the door, and they have another door. Everything's locked, so they break it down. And the world just keeps cracking more and more and more. And then as they're running out, you have all these other people. Think of, a giant city of civilians running away. So what do some of them do? They roll to jump on their heads and run across their heads. It's like, dude, you're not doing very nice things with the civilians. And then you got this little pathway that more civilians are on. And then someone's like, yeah, I'm going to run and just barge right through and shove people off the edge. And then, I essentially wanted them to roll for everything. So when they had to make a leap, some of them made it, some of them didn't. So then we moved on to the next one and the next one. But they didn't know they were supposed to fall, and that's just kind of the scary part of it, because with D&D, if you're the DM, you always want to make sure you let your characters know they could die at any moment, and when that happens, you gotta reroll a new character, or if you're the DM, think of a way to bring back their character if they want to bring them back. And there's several ways you can go about this. So the way I do it is I tell them, hey, you can die, and if you die, you can either 1, reroll your character, or 2, lose 3 of your skill points permanently, which is a huge blow.
It is, but 3 is, I would say, if it's only 3, then I would do it. If your character dies again, you lose 3 more, then just might as well reroll it. Because 3, you'll make points back. I mean, those are permanently gone, but you level up and have a chance to do more to get those points back. Because I think, where I'm at right now, there's not a lot of feats left that I really want to for my character wise. So it would be going towards like those 3 points.
Yeah.
But if you have like somebody who depends on magic quite a bit, that could be detrimental.
Yep.
Especially
hugely detrimental.
Higher level beings that we're facing.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets pretty crazy. So, like I said, be prepared to die, and if you're the DM, I encourage you to not make that player that died have to start all the way over to level 1 when everyone else is like level 5 or 6.
That would suck.
Because that's not fair to that player. They're just going to be standing around in the corner. Because the way D&D works is by having certain conversations with people, trying to avoid combat, you'll get experience for all these actions. But the way I do it is I give them experience, but I do it a little differently. I don't give it to just one person. I give it to them all equally. I pay attention to where I'm at, and then I just tell them when they level up. I don't follow the specific experience as noted in the books because it just gets a little ridiculous. And I just think it's easier overall for everybody to understand.
And since he's giving you the DM advice, I'm going to, because we touched on it last time, but I just want to kind of reiterate. As a player or character, don't metagame. And what metagame is like, say Matt is telling me, like, we meet up and we do like lunch one day, and Matt goes, oh, so this is what's going to happen. This is what could happen in the future game. And I know that knowledge and I take it into the game. Or if, like, since you're in a group, you're all sitting around, he can't just get up and play Duck Duck Goose and walk over to Clint and go, hey, Clint, and whisper in his ear saying, you're going to find 5,000 gold, right? No, he tells him across the table. So don't use that information because it's directed to one player. Don't go in and go, oh, I'm going to go steal the gold before he gets to it, because your character doesn't know.
Yep.
It's your outside person that knows it.
And it is hard to do because you get into situations where it's like, say Clint's over here and Dustin's right here. Clint sees there's a trap across the way, knows there's a trap, but Dustin's character can't be like, oh, I'm going to go around this way. It's like, would you really go around the whole house just to go inside when the door's right there?
I proved that that is not the case.
So, as the DM, all I have to say is, the way I do it, I do a couple different things. So, sometimes if it's like a word or something, I will use sticky notes, write it down really quick, and then just give it to them. That way they have it for themselves.
When you're the dead person's dad?
Yeah. Or yeah.
Matt is my dad in the game.
And number 2, what you can do is, if that person uses it, make that knowledge, cursed, or something bad happens. Like I say, hey, Clint, there's 500 gold over here. Dustin, oh, I'm going to magically go this way because I have a gut instinct. Goes to the gold melts in his hand, and now he just lost an arm. That would kind of suck. Or, hey, he stole this gold. Guess what? It was cursed, like in Pirates of the Caribbean. Now he gets disadvantage on all his rolls until he spends it all.
Well, and for people to know, too, that the only way, like, Matt would do that is if in the situation where I metagamed and I went and I stole the gold. Like, if Clint went and got the gold, he's not going to make it cursed for Clint because he intended for Clint to find that. Because he, let's say he searched the area and rolled high enough to find it.
Yep.
So don't punish people because this person's going to do it. Just punish the people who are going to break the rules.
Yep. Another really hard thing about it is, and I usually let it go for the first few levels just because everyone tries to learn, is if one person rolls for traps and they say, like, for example, okay, I rolled a D3. Oh, don't worry, guys, I don't see any traps. That doesn't mean every other person gets to roll D20s to look for traps. They trust that guy that there's no traps. It's not, oh, shoot, I know he rolled bad, he's blind. Unless maybe he's constantly rolling bad, then you just don't have him checking for traps.
So yeah, I think we're getting better at that.
Yeah, we're getting a lot better at it.
At the beginning, yeah, it was, not throwing names out, but one person in general who would just, I'm gonna check, like I would check something and I roll like a 16, which is gonna tell me if anything's there, and then they would just roll it, going, oh, I'm gonna check it to see if I can see anything more, and it's like,
yeah, or he would say like roll badly, and then go, I'm gonna check it again. It's like,
yeah, you wouldn't be like inspecting, like
like
just picture yourself looking at something.
Yeah, I could see if like you're in like a puzzle room, you're looking for something, and then okay, you don't see anything there, so you go somewhere else. Well,
maybe I missed something.
So I'm gonna go back and check really quick. Or hey, you want to check that out? Because I didn't see anything. Stuff like that.
Always make sure you tell your fellow companions too. Like if let's say you inspect a room and you see there's like, I don't know, like a secret lever to a room that goes apart with metagaming too. Don't just assume that just because they're in the room with you in real life that's how it is. No, you need to go tell them, hey, Sierra, there's a lever on the wall that'll open up a secret room. Tell them in character.
Yep.
You wanna. It's a lot of acting, really, and you don't have to be the world's best actor at it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you use like for acting, like I'm horrible at role playing. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to encourage everybody else to get better. So like when they roll for attack, because it makes it more fun. Is it more fun if I say, hey, Dustin rolled a critical. Okay, he killed him. Or
that
hey,
happened.
What happens? What did you do? You just rolled this crazy hit.
I used a
potion of strength.
Yeah, potion of strength, which gives me times 10 the damage.
One time use.
No, it's one time rechargeable after.
Rechargeable. Sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant.
So I'm like, I might use it again coming up. But no, and then the sword I have, it's 3d6 damage plus I think like 3 extra frost damage or something like that. And so when you roll a critical, you get double the dice roll, and so I took that and I rolled a perfect 20 on it, and the total damage that was done was 300. So Matt said you can pick how you want to kill them any way you want to. So I did like off the movie 300 just because it's like one of my favorites. I did the chest kick, what is it?
Spartan kick or whatever.
Spartan kick. and sent her like away off the map. It was fun. I mean, but there's also been times where I've hit them with my sword, and you're like, well, how do you want to do it? And I'm like a big fan of, especially because of the time that is supposed to be set in, of the chopping of the head when you have that big sword. Just hack it off.
Yeah, and one thing I want to encourage like the DMs to do too is, and it's hard to do, but when they roll a critical fail, which is usually a 1, or in some cases like a 1 through 3 if they have, a certain item and they fail more because of it. Just remember, these guys, especially when they get higher level, they're experienced fighters. He's not just going to drop his bow or, drop his sword mid-swing. Like, try to think of better ways to make him fail. I know I'm kind of bad at it, because sometimes it's like, oh man, I got to think of a way to fail. I wasn't expecting someone to fail when he came into a room, but he misjudged the step.
And I know people are wanting us to talk about like our whole campaign, but we started back in what, like October?
Yeah.
So it's been a while. We've taken breaks, and so it's been a while. We're not going to remember everything that happened at the beginning. One of the cool things that we talked about when we first started it was it'd be cool to do like how the Big Bang Theory usually does like a Christmas D&D session. That there's one that I watched that stood out the most to me. So I talked to Matt and said, man, that'd be cool if we did that. And it turned out, I think you had that planned? I
had that planned, yep.
And it turned out really fun because you don't have to keep it strictly D&D. We ended up mixing D&D and Krampus. Which, if you don't know Krampus, then you should watch the movie because it's pretty good. It's a horror movie, so be prepared to jump. Oh, it's wrong screen. But and it was just things that we had to do in it. It was D&D, but it was a Christmas themed one, which it makes it fun to do, especially around like Christmas.
Yep. Yeah. So essentially, they went to this island. They saw they come out of this tower, and it's just snowing everywhere, and they found this magical tree that's lighting up with, you could say, weird ornaments. They get to it, they beat a few toy soldiers and whatnot, then they get to the present. It says Mr. K. Everyone's all happy thinking, oh, it's Kris Kringle. And then we have a guy here that's like, oh no, it's Krampus. The second they open it.
I just watched the movie 2 days before again, so I was like, oh no. Yeah, it was.
That was like a 3-day session too, I think, wasn't it?
I think so.
Because you had the island, then they got there, then they had to go through the town, and they went outside this thing, and then you guys had to go in. Yeah.
And we had to lock up, because all the reindeer were evil. They weren't the happy ones. So we had to figure out a way to get them all in their stalls and shut, because once it was shut, it was magically sealed. There's probably a lot easier way than what we did.
Yep.
But we ended up all hiding in the ends, like in an end stall where the sleigh was. Yeah, there was. Mm-hmm. So if you would have got on it and you would have... Wait, if you would have
said the reindeer, they would have all went in there.
Yeah. So we ended up individually calling them in to stalls and had the quickest guy call him in. The reindeer would charge in. He would roll out and we'd lock it. And that was like maybe 2 hours of doing that, which was... And then part of the metagaming that we're talking about is, and I'm guilty of it too, because we all were at that time, because we had a guy who would, the first like couple, he would, because he had animal handling, so he could be like, okay, go in here, and they'd do it peacefully. But you got to think, man, animals are smart, and if they see they're getting locked up, they're not going to just go, oh yeah, I'll go in here. Because he asked me too nicely.
And they're possessed, too.
Yeah, they're evil.
So, just remember, there's always going to be frustrating points. Try not to get frustrated. Because, I mean, it's not necessary. The DM doesn't necessarily want you all to die. Some of them do. Some of them do.
Yeah, it's, and then, I'm trying to think, man. I just want to make this abundantly clear. If you start a campaign with somebody, because like you want to do it with like friends.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it. You don't want to do it with like a whole bunch of new like people you don't really know.
Yeah.
But if you do it with friends, I think it's gonna be a lot more fun, because you guys know how each other think. You know what this person would do, and you could kind of actually call them on some stuff.
Yeah.
But,
which makes it more fun for me because, like for example, a couple days or sessions ago, we had one, and there was all these pillars they had to jump across, and they go to roll. I'm like, oh, you don't need to roll. They're like, oh man, because they know I can be tricky and sneaky. So they're like, if we don't have to roll, you probably got something else up your sleeve. Mm-hmm. So then no one wants to jump over. It's like,
if it's easy, or he goes, are you sure you want to do that? I'll rethink about if I really want to do it. But yeah, and if you start a campaign with somebody, right, see it out. Don't join it and then quit. I mean, because it makes it harder for the DM because he already has stuff planned. But to me, it's one of those things where I made the commitment. So, and the D&D campaigns are meant to be drawn out and long. They're not supposed to be, you're going to complete it in a week or two.
Yeah.
No, it's usually going to take a couple months, it could be up to like 6 months to even a year sometimes, I've seen. And so if you start it,
like there are one-shot campaigns where it's like done in one session. But everyone knew going into this was going to be a long time.
Mm-hmm. Like there are situations that I understand where somebody has to leave or somebody has to get booted out, because we've been through a scenario of that, which we're not getting into. But we've had actually two, because Jacob moved to LA to better his life and do something and chase a dream that he wanted. And how the hell can you say nope, can't do it? You gotta stay here for D&D.
And that's something I knew was coming, and he's still trying to make it. With Skype. Busy right now, Jake. If you're watching, we miss you, buddy.
We love you. I miss you.
We need our little druid pal.
I really do. But we've also had a couple people who just.
They say they got tired of it.
But
so essentially, if you're getting bored with it, just communicate. Say, hey.
That's the big key.
This is where I'm getting bored. Okay, well, what do you want to see more? Are you guys having too much fighting? Because in our campaign,
it's pretty mixed.
It's mixed, but I focus a lot on puzzles and fighting.
I'd say it's more
because that's what it seems like puzzles. They enjoy. Because I've had a couple where they could have talked their way out of it, but they don't care for the whole talking part of encounters that a lot of people, to role players try to talk through.
Well, some I'm just going, what? What are you thinking?
Mm-hmm. Because some of them, it's like, oh, there's all these guys coming. I'm gonna go hide really quick. It's like, okay, you can do whatever you want. And that's one thing, is let them be able to do whatever they want. It's their drive, but if the players want to split up, you can have them split up, but maybe make something so they have to come back together. But let them do whatever they want. That's all I can say.
So I think we only split up, to my knowledge anyways, was when we had to go in that village, and I think it was me and Ed had to go into the secret tunnels. Yeah, was it me, Ed, and Clint, and then Jacob went through the main gate because it was his kind that were
he's able to like roll for it or something like that, and
it was gnomes.
Yeah, because he's a gnome. Yeah.
So we, that's the only really time I remember us splitting up. Well, and then flying out the castle, me and Jacob, and then
right. When I say split up, though, I mean like, hey, I can go east, and the other person goes west.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean, like.
Yeah, and I don't know. I always want to keep with the group just because, like, A, strength in numbers, but B, because it's like that would be a lot to expect the DM to, because you already have to like plan out and try to assume of what we're gonna do, and we have to throw in monkey wrenches into it sometimes. But to do that, and then somebody goes, well, I don't want to go that way, I'm going this way. It's like, come on, you got to be flexible with it. It's a lot to ask for you to do two separate things for one.
It isn't. It isn't, because essentially, if you guys say we're to split up, I would just force you to go together somehow. And there's a few ways you can do it. One of the easiest tricks in the book, if you want the group to go somewhere, is when they sleep, they get robbed of one little dagger. Why do they take that dagger? Is it worth anything? No, but they're gonna travel to the ends of the earth to get their dagger back.
And it's gonna like lead them to where they're at.
Yep. Or you go, okay, the group is heading this way. As you go this way, you see a pack of hungry wolves sitting there. Looks like, hey, you just rolled for, now it's, hey, it's a werewolf. Oh, shoot. I can't take them.
Yeah, that would suck.
So what are you going to do? You're going to keep going? Okay, you keep going. Your character's probably going to die. And I'm probably going to make you re-roll it.
Unless you have a Witcher character who carries 2 swords.
Right?
That would be sweet. I was thinking about doing that.
That'd be cool.
Because I love it. I haven't gotten back to The Witcher.
I love
it. I love playing it, but like it's kind of like Red Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Stopped playing it, and I just haven't had a drive to get back to it. But
after I beat it, I was kind of done with it.
If you guys have any questions, also make sure you're asking so that way we know. Because we're just trying to go. Because the main thing I had seen was you guys wanted to hear know more about our campaign. I think when we left last time, I think we were talking about the woods. Because I remember somebody asking about the woods afterwards,
okay,
to it, and I think that was the part where
you guys got dragged down and had to do that.
Yeah,
I think that was one of my favorite sessions too.
We made so many horrible mistakes. Brittany's character would have been fine, but I didn't want to leave her up there by herself because I didn't know if she would die. Yeah, you're good.
So Brittany was glowing green. Sorry about that, guys. Because she was good. Where the 2 Dragonborns were glowing red because they were both evil types. And Clint was also glowing red. He was a rogue. And then Jacob, our druid, where if you're a druid, you're true neutral. So he was glowing yellow. No one really understood what that meant, so they keep going. And in the woods, I purposely set up where they were going to be running across alligators and snakes. But they weren't doing anything to them. They were just kind of watching them. So they got to this kind of like a hot springs type thing. And there was the hag, but no one saw any, could tell. But I made her, bronze flesh. She had a huge amulet on just so I could, kind of get the rogues oh, I'm going to take it. So they go in. The alligators and snakes kind of surround them. They don't do anything. They're just kind of staring at them. The whole team took it as a sign of aggression. So our druid used some kind of animal spell, made the alligators kill all the snakes, so he glowed red. And then I think one of you guys jumped in the pond and just sunk all the way to the bottom.
Ed.
I think was it Ed?
Ed went first, and then we all just followed.
And then, yeah. And then Brittany jumped in and she just kind of floated because she was green, so it wasn't trying to sink her. Oh no, sorry. The hag grabbed you guys and then leaves the cursed hand on you.
On Clint.
On Clint, that's right. So they all jumped down. Then Brittany was floating, so our last guy here to jump down grabs her leg and yanks her down with him.
I didn't want her to be up there by herself because I didn't know if she'd die. I didn't know it was, because that's just...
You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen.
So then down below, they breached this town.
It was dead.
Yeah.
Burnt, right?
Everything was burnt, dead. Everything was dead around them. But there was an inn there. So they go to the inn. No one talked except the barkeeper. He gave him a drink, or Clint a drink because he wanted a drink. And man, it kind of hurt his character a little bit because it's not a good drink to have. Then after that, they found out that they have to go to this tower and essentially beat the tower. And then in the tower, this was the skull tower, right? I think, right? With the skull heads.
I think so.
Yeah, so they go through the main door. No, so as they get to the door, it was pretty cool because the druid could tell the vines were magical. So as they tried to cut the door open, the vines kind of went back. So then they hopped over the fence. Then there was a black rhinoceros that would appear and then just constantly charge them. And as a DM, this is kind of like your fun way to kind of troll the characters a little bit, because as characters, it's very important to realize that not all bad guys are meant to be beaten. Or maybe at that time, you can do it, but some of them are going to be near impossible. So if you say, like, hey, there's this giant dragon out in the distance, you should probably know you can't beat it. Unless, you know, it's like, hey, this dragon is horribly wounded already. Very weak. Something along those lines. So anyways, they go in, and then kind of my troll move is someone goes, I'm going to push the door open. I'm like, it doesn't budge. They're like, what? And then I tell him it's a pull door. So he's
it's
like,
not funny, dude.
son of a gun.
You did that to me.
So then essentially they go in, and then it's kind of hard to be specific of what every little item in the room is. So just kind of give a brief description, but there was a fountain in the center. I know it's kind of odd. There was a door to the left, a door straight, stairs going up, and a door to the right. The door to the left went down, and then essentially there was 10 squares, and I would set an alarm, and every minute I would roll a d10, and whoever was in that square got burnt.
So picture it like 10 like grates.
Yep.
Like, you know, fire just go through them.
Yep. And they saw a couple of burnt skeletons down there. One had a scribe. They figured out that puzzle. They were able to get out. They couldn't go up the stairs yet because it was trapped or locked at the time. I don't remember which one it was.
Locked.
Yeah. Then they went into the dining room. They saw, I think, 6 skeletons. 2 of them had heads. The rest didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then after they, kind of searched, found some food, found some items, a couple rings. They go into the kitchen, start looking for stuff. The druid went to the door, opened the pantry, got yanked in, and this was kind of hard to explain to the group, but I had to tell Jacob, who was the one that got knocked in, I'm like, okay, you're your character, but you have to attack your team. He didn't understand why, but he started attacking his team. So the whole team starts attacking him back, except someone who's thinking right here, because his buddy, he's like, well, I'm not going to attack my buddy. I'm going to try to open the door that he just...
Do with one of the drives on it.
Oh, that's interesting. So anyways, they got all the skulls, and then they found out that, I think Clint said he jumped in the fountain. I'm like, you're clean and sparkly. They all thought it was a joke until they realized that they had to put all the skulls into the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there is a reason why this is here. It's not just to make Clint clean and sparkly. So it's just really trying to come up with things like that. And sometimes if there's an item you want them to use, try to say it in a way that, oh, that's interesting. Like, for example, when we were beating Krampus or whatever, they had to bake all these Christmas cookies to give them the strength. So when they were in the barn, I said, oh, yeah, there's hay, there's some chickens, you see some sheet metal, you see some rope. Well, they actually needed that sheet metal, but you just say it, like it's just an everyday item that's there.
Yeah, I think, wasn't it? Because I wasn't there for that one, but I think Ed was getting kind of irritated because
yeah,
it's like, why didn't you give it to me all? It's like, well, because it wouldn't be as fun. It's not, you have to find these things. You wouldn't, you wouldn't go in your kitchen and poof, magically everything's there to bake cookies.
No.
You would have to go and get everything. And it's not, the time period isn't now where it's all in a refrigerator. No, I'm pretty sure you'd have to go track down the egg back then, or the chicken to get the eggs and all that stuff. So you're supposed to have fun with it, not like.
Because I gave him a history check, and then I think he rolled high enough, so I just gave him the 4 basic items he needed to get. And he got the items, and then I'm like, okay, well, what are you going to crack all your ingredients into?
My hand.
Like, and that's just where the whole role playing out comes in. It's like, say, well, hey, I'm going to grab the bowl. Okay, great. Now what are you going to use to cook them with? Oh, I don't know. There's none there. What am I supposed to do? I don't know. What are you going to do? I mean, it's kind of one of those points where the characters will get frustrated, but just try not to. I mean, if everything was great and dandy all the time, how much fun would that be?
Well, and like the thing is, like, Matt does his best to like make us figure everything out. But like if it's like taking an hour and a half, he definitely will give us a helpful hand, because like there's some stuff that he does that's like we're all just going beating our head against the wall going, and it's on those times where it's like he can tell that everybody's actually thinking and trying to figure it out, because we've had times too where everybody just sat there and did nothing, and it's like there were like 1 or 2 of us would try to figure it out, and like the other 3 would be sitting there doing this.
Yeah, so like in last week was a good example where you found that draconic writing on the wall, and Clint's like, well, that wasn't there when I was there. It's like, it wasn't there because I didn't want to give a hint at the moment, which it's hard because yes, you technically should have found it, but I have to think of a way to give you guys a hint. Yeah.
Well, and then,
which I think he gets. I think it's just the frustration of Grr, or just trying to not really frustration, just trying to understand it.
Right. Because he's takes a lot for him to get frustrated. Realistically, but and then I mean, come on, seriously, because we've done it before where somebody checks and they go, oh, look, it's in Draconic, and they go, oh, hey, look, Draconic writing, and instead of like everybody investigating, finding it, like, and I go, oh, hey, look, I know the language. It makes it. If you're gonna be the type of player who's just gonna sit there and let everybody else do everything, I would say don't play it, because it's supposed to be meant for you to, you're in a group, but like it's to like, let's say there's a room, right, and there's like 5 different doors, or if we have 4 people, 4 different doors. It's not supposed to be we're all gonna just go and Joe Blow's gonna go on door number 1, then he's gonna go 2, 3. No, like you pretty much split off and do everything. If there's 2 doors, split into 2 groups and go, and look that way. Because we haven't had a lot where it was just 1 or 2 of us doing it.
Yeah,
we've had a couple times where it was, but
and there'll be a couple times where say someone's about to activate a puzzle and the doors are closed behind them. I'll say, hey, before you do that, you might want to gather everybody up in that room.
Yeah,
because otherwise it's going to shut in on them. They'll be left to figure out themselves, and I won't let anybody else help them, and they'll probably die doing it.
That was the perfect example of that was when we were in that place that had the 2 gloves.
Yeah.
Because you said before you go in here and do something, you're going to want to make sure everybody's in here. And in my brain, I'm going, oh, that means like if they're stuck out there, they're going to die. So, yeah, before we did it, I said, hey guys, come in here. We're doing this, and it's, I think definitely it's. If you have a DM that's pretty much a take. I probably wouldn't have been doing it.
Yeah.
But Matt's really a flexible DM, and he's like, especially at the beginning, he let us do things that a lot of others wouldn't do because he knew that a lot of us were new, and like me and Ed hadn't played in years, so he was letting us kind of figure everything out and get everything sorted. But now as we're going, it's more of we're trying to stick by doing everything right, and that's where too, like where I said, if you're gonna agree to do a campaign, man, stick it out, because you might not know how much that person who is doing the DM has been so flexible with you. Like I know because I talked to Matt like quite a bit during the week, and you know, we talk about D&D. You know, like if we play Friday, you know, we'll talk throughout the week, and you know, he'll tell me, yeah, I was gonna do this, but so I've understood from pretty much day one how much leniency we have had and how easy that he gave it to us at the beginning. And so for me, I've always kind of been burned when people like would just, I'm bored, I'm not going to do this anymore. Because it's like, well, he went out of his way to do this and make this as fun as he can. And I get it, you know, things will come up where you have to. But if you don't have a good solid reason, and to me, a good solid reason is pretty much something that it has to be done. You know, like you can't.
Yeah.
But and I know if people watch this and they're gonna get offended by it, well, I'm sorry, but that's how I felt. Because it would be easy. I mean, it'd be easy for me to go, oh, Matt, you know, I don't feel good on Fridays. I'm not gonna do it anymore. But A, I love doing it, and B, it's like I said, I know how much you invest in it.
Yeah, and it's very hard for a DM to come up with combats because on our second day, and this is just where, you know, sometimes the dice are in your favor, sometimes they're not. They went up against these barbarian guys type thing, and there was 4 of them. They killed them all before one of them could even fire a bow because they all rolled super well. Then I had literally a captain coming with 2 other ones, so I'm like, shoot, they killed them all. I better just add 2 more off the bat. Then that's when all the dice went south. They all almost died.
Brittany
it's like,
burned me.
Oh my goodness.
She shot an arrow.
Fire arrow.
And I think she's trying to hit the tree behind the captain.
Yeah.
And it landed in the square, not where I was at, but like a couple away, but it like lit in a line where I was at, and I didn't roll very well to dodge it.
Well, and then I think she rolled bad again, then it hit the tree, then caught the whole ground on fire when the guy was in the tree, so everyone got disadvantage on the roll because of the smoke where he gets advantage and he gets... Oh, it was...
We've had a couple rough dice rolling days.
Yeah.
Lately it's been really good. We've been doing good, but... to say too, don't take yourself too serious when you're playing either. Definitely like, okay, I say that. Don't take yourself too serious, but then don't be so laxed either.
Yep.
You want to keep it at a nice tempo where everything's kind of flowing. When it comes to the story base, like, I think I'm doing better with my character and his what people are probably imagining my imaginary figure. But my dead dad, because the character his dad pretty much haunts him because he hates him. That's just because... It's
like a love-hate. It's like...
I'm his son, but it's... Because Dragonborns they stick to their own kind. And my parents were 2 different Dragonborns, so it was kind of really frowned upon. And so they were killed by their tribe, by their separate tribes.
Thinking like a Jon Snow, you know, where...
Yeah, and so, like... I turned out to be, because the dad was white and the mom was blue, and I was like kind of like mixed between like the white and it's like kind of like a sky blue.
Yep.
But he could tell that I wasn't, that I didn't turn out like he was. So it was like, oh, I hate you, but you're my son, so I love you and I'll help you, but you're an idiot at the same time.
Yep.
So it's like, so he's not gonna sit there every game and go. Speaking like in like a dad voice and go, search over here, you moron. No, he'll write a note, right? So that way, to me, I hear it and everybody else doesn't, which makes it it takes away the metagaming.
Yeah. Because
it's like, then I can because I hear it and I can either tell everybody or I keep it to myself and go, okay. And if somebody asks me, be like, well, it just came to me. But that's definitely a good way to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is get sticky notes and write it if you want specifically that person to know, and then make sure they know not to go around going, hey, look, because it's not like,
right,
yeah, it's supposed to be a voice in your head.
Exactly.
Oh god, dude, I keep going to that one and I need to go on the laptop. So far, any questions? I know probably people will tune in later because I think last time we did this it was Friday, so I think people were more.
It was like Friday night-ish, yeah.
Yeah, it was before D&D. But yeah, any questions? Like, if you have any questions after we're done and you see this on the replay, make sure you type it into the comment section, and we will cover it next time that we come back.
Yep.
I'm trying to just think about.
Like, really, any questions, anything.
Yeah, I mean, because if you don't, because if I'll say Matt doesn't know it because he knows a lot more than I do about it. If we don't know it, Matt doesn't know it.
I'll try to find
We'll always look it up. Yeah, we'll try to find some way to find it for you.
But going forward, though, just remember the DM is your official rule guide, because no one's gonna know all of D&D like the back of their head because there's so much to it.
They're the creator.
Because I mean, like for example, rope actually has an attack, like AC. And
oh, damn.
Yeah. So for example, the way that happens is because I think it's 10. So if they're trying to cut themselves through the rope, they actually have to roll a d20, and if they don't hit 10, then it's not they miss the rope. I mean, your character's not retarded. He's in the rope. It's you couldn't pull your sword out, or you couldn't get your hand free, or you took a slash at it, but the rope still seems too strong.
So that way, if you have two attacks, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But, so let's say that happens, right? And you get like a 9, and it has to go above 10 before it will cut, right?
Yeah.
But if you get close to a 10, will it count as any damage for it?
It won't.
Okay, so it has to be 10 or more, otherwise.
Yep, and then I think it might even have its health thing. It might. I can't remember that one for sure, but yeah.
And that's like really up to the DM if they want to go that far and be like, because I could easily see somebody doing that. No, you have to like do 20 damage before you can cut it. Whereas I think you have let us where I think we hit above.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
And then I mean, same time, don't make your characters roll for every single thing. Like if say someone wants to sneak and there's like maybe a river running, just say, okay, yeah, you don't have to roll because the river's running so well. Or our Clint, he's super dexterous, and if he wants to climb this tree, I might not make him roll dexterity because of how dexterous he is. It'd be a little ridiculous. Like, yeah, you just climb the tree.
He did a sneak the other night, and he with his dex points and his roll, it was like 30.
Yeah, it's
like
insane. Absolutely insane.
And I was gonna say, like, one of the things I like that you do too, which if you're gonna be a DM, is think about it. Like if we go, because we went to recently, we went to a tower, and I think it took us 2 days to get through, or two sessions to get through.
Yeah.
But at the very beginning, because we do have the ones that like to roll for everything and check every single thing for perception check. He told us before we went in, okay, guys, what you see is what you get. There's not going to be any hiding. There's not going to be any secrecy. You walk in, you see this, and this. That's it. Because we would literally have a group where it would be like 15 minutes of people rolling to see if they could find any secret little nuance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that would take forever. And we've had some sessions that went like, I think 3 hours. And we like, here's point A, right? Here's point B. After like the 3 hour session, we were only right here, and we're supposed to be all the way over here by the end of it. And it's like, wow. And it's like, man. And that was more towards the beginning, so we were new. So, I mean, I'm not going to harp on anybody because I was that way too.
It's just learning. It's like, and the best way to learn is just getting thrown right into it. And hopefully you have some players that know a little bit about it. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, like, Clint didn't join us right away, but when he did, he didn't really know how to play. So he just kind of like watched from a distance kind of what was going, did some weird stuff, made some illusions, but didn't attack anybody because he didn't know anybody. He didn't really know what to do.
Put illusions in front of us when we had a dragon that could shoot fire. It's like, no! Stop it! Yeah, but I think it is definitely a positive because, like, we had Jacob. Jacob is
he's played a few times.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the knowledge-based people we had for the D&D.
Right.
I think Jacob was the biggest knowledge-based person we had.
I think he was.
And
it wasn't a whole lot.
And what was really nice is because there were things where like you and him would like you'd have the inside track on, so you'd be like, "Hey Jacob," this, and he's like, "Oh yeah," but like Jacob didn't go and do everything. Like he would sit back and see what we would do and what we'd figure out, and if it's to the point where we're just going, he would come in and solve it. And that makes a very good person to have in your group because
there's times users watching him and he's just like scratching his head like, "You're doing what?"
Yeah. It's funny because like I think that's how at the very beginning I learned on your cues and Jacob's cues. If that was really a smart thing to do, because Jacob would be like, okay.
Because the way I am 90% of the time is once they say it, you can't take it back. Your character's already doing it. I mean, that'd be like saying you're swinging from a rope, you let go. Oh no, I didn't swing from a rope.
Nope.
I mean, if you have Misty Step, maybe you can Misty Step back from what you just did. But
yeah, like now you're when you always have been to the point of pretty much think about like you're getting ready to jump from like a 50-foot cliff into like a very shallow pond.
Yep.
You're getting ready to do it, and Matt will go, "Is this something you really want to do?" And that's the time where you go, do I really want to do it this way? Yeah, because once like if you go, "I'm running and I jump," and Matt goes, "Are you sure you want to do this?" That would never happen. He'd be like, "Okay, man, you missed this little pond and you landed on the rock next to it.
Yep.
Take like 80 damage."
Yeah, you jump in this pond, but guess what? That pond was pretty shallow, and actually you can stand in it, so you break both your legs.
So I think that's like, as a DM, like what I think a lot of people can take away is if you, especially with like new, unexperienced players, if they're gonna do something and you just know it's not gonna work out at all, before they do it or try to do it, do that. Say, is it something you really want to do? Put it in a way where it's going to be like they're not going, "Oh, is he trying to trick us?" Do it like a serious tone. Like, "Are you sure you want to?" Because like Matt has his serious tones, and then he has his "I'm going to see if I can fuck with them" tones. Pardon the language, but because like when I see him, he goes, "Are you sure that you really want to do this, right?" And then he'll be like, "Yeah, are you sure you want to do it?" And it's like, no. But sometimes you do that, and it screws with me because I think that I'm not supposed to do it, and it's like, so you have to really know your DM. Like I think,
because I mean, there's been times where we had one guy, he dropped a sword in this hole, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna grab it." I'm like, "Are you sure you want to grab it?" He's like, "Well, I don't want to grab my sword." So I go, "Dustin, do you want to go grab his sword?" He's like,
"Yeah,
sure." He's like, No, I grab my sword, but nothing happens. All right.
Because like I could tell by the tone in your voice that you weren't gonna screw with me. So I was like, okay, yeah, why not? And then that's when
But that's kind of like the good thing is, you screw with them enough, but you don't always screw with them. That way, it's like, oh no, this is actually going to be something. I mean, there was a door in one of the puzzles we had. So they unlocked a door, got into a room, unlocked a door, got into a room, unlocked a door, got into a room. And then the last room, they start trying to burn down this door, and the door was unlocked.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing all this stuff.
They didn't check it, that's right. Because I was investigating the fountain because it had because I had found the 5 coins to go in there. And so when I'm sitting there looking at that, Jacob, I think it was in that same area with me. Mm-hmm. And Sam and Brittany were, they burnt the door down because they didn't check. But it was like, in all fairness, you guys are going, wow, that's stupid. There was trickery to doors. Like, there were switches that you had to hit on the doors before and before and before. So to just walk into a room and go, oh, I'm just going to push it, you wouldn't be doing that after 3 rooms of having to find this magical way.
Think of it like playing Zelda. You do all these puzzles and boss rooms when it's like, I could have just went straight to the boss room and opened it because it was unlocked.
Yeah.
That'd be the most ridiculous thing I ever saw in a Zelda game.
I could see him doing it, though.
I could see him doing it.
Going, oh, we're going to make him go to point A and point B, or point A to point C, and we're going to bring him around to point B if they want to.
Yep.
But if they just check it, we're good.
But that's your fun job of being a DM, is just trolling with people like that, because I love it, and usually after the group gets it, it's just a memorable moment. So it's like, oh, remember that bastard that had the unlocked door that I spent 10 minutes trying to figure out how to open?
Or in a recent one, I think it wasn't last week, but the week before, where we had to climb up the tower, and there's one room that had like a pit that had a guy in there, like a skeleton with a ball and chain, and it had a fire amulet.
Yep.
And there's like 5 gargoyles.
Yeah.
Or 5 or 6, and there's mirrors behind them, and Sierra would know because she's the one who figured it out, that you had to break the mirrors, and there's levers that you hit, and you had to find the right lever to unlock the door, and the other ones flooded the room, and one turned the gargoyles in
gave
them life.
Claws like lightning. Then the other one gave them life, and
so we hit the first one, and it started raising the water. Clint went down to investigate the skeleton, grabbed the fire pendant, and left. And we just smashed all the mirrors and hit all the levers until it opened, and then we just screwed it up. And we went to the next area where we had to use these shapes to pretty much create a hole in a wall, like a magical wall, through into like a crack. We had to make another circle so we could fire something into it.
Yeah, think of like Portal, where you make a hole here, then you make a hole here, so then it's like a hole in the wall.
And then we couldn't figure out what we had to fire, and Matt kept saying, like a cannonball, or something along the lines. And then I think it was David who it hit, and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute."
Yeah.
And that room with the gargoyles was a ball and chain that nobody grabbed. So we had to go back down, grab it. And we sent Clint for that because he was the most nimble. Well, we all just stood up and waited for him to get him.
Well, it's kind of one of those, he's the fastest, but it was also his fault for not grabbing it.
I think we gave him a rope, too. So you
gave him a rope to just yank him.
But see, we're all sitting there going, "Oh, God, man, there's lightning, there's gargoyles," but like he told us that they all drowned because the room was filled with water, and it was like raising. So, or like because it was raising. Also, I had the key for that room. I locked the door, and so Clint went to open it, and Matt's like, "How can you open it? The door's locked." I'm like, "Oh crap! Here's the key." And so he would unlock it, and but then we went back up, put it in, shot it. I mean, we were like shooting it off the walls, trying to bounce it in, and so it's like things that you think aren't going to be just straight common sense and things that aren't straight common sense are really not straight common sense. It's something you have to think about, and it's just, and he mixes it up. It's not straight, "Oh, okay, this is how you do it. This is how you do it." There's some stuff that we have straight up lucked into getting the answers right, and that is the most famous. The famous one was with 3, or was it E?
3.
Yeah,
no,
3.
E. 3. Yeah, 3.
And it was like, I can't even remember what the puzzle was or what the answer was, but Brittany had just thrown out the number.
Oh, no, it was E. It was E. I'm sorry. It was E. It was
she
E.
threw out the letter, and she even admitted that it wasn't.
Because there's all these words or whatever, and she spelled softness or something like that, and it was only missing an E. She put the E in.
But she wasn't meaning to.
No, she didn't. No. She had no idea what she was doing.
Yeah, no. And Matt's like, "Are you kidding me?" Because it was a puzzle he thought we were going to be stuck on for a while.
Yep.
But we were only on it for 5 minutes, maybe 10.
Well, it was a while. But
was it a while?
Yeah, because it was essentially the way I had it set up is they had all these items on the other side of the wall, and if they would have got it wrong, all their items would slowly start falling. So they literally thought about it.
Oh, yeah, we didn't guess for a while, right?
Yeah, because you didn't want... Because you had, like, your blue rubies that you loved were over there type of thing, and there's other rubies and sapphires, so no one wanted the stuff to fall. So it was, like, pen and paper.
Trying to figure it all out, yeah. It's like... Damn. And so, I think just to wrap up today, we're just going to kind of go over, like, maybe... those damn gargoyles. I know, right? It sucks. So, like I said, we're not going to remember every little detail of what we've done so far. We'll just kind of, now that we're going to be doing it, I think we'll probably do it on a weekly basis if you have the time for it.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll do it on either Thursdays or, well, probably Fridays would be better for you.
Yeah,
we
right
had
before
today
D&D,
off, so that's how it worked today.
Yeah.
But so Friday before D&Ds, we'll do it. We'll do it weekly. So that way we can kind of give you the lowdown on what we did the week before. We won't do what we're going to do during the week because that'd be a spoiler for myself, probably Sierra because she watches, and anybody else who tunes in before.
Yeah.
So we'll just kind of cover what we've done. And in that time period, we will answer any questions you have, like if you have any maybe character advice or maybe you want to know if like there's an app that you can get or what book to get. We can help you out with that. So to wrap up for this week, where we left off, where we started and where we left off. We started on a boat that had a giant, think of it like a spike, like a black electrical spike coming from the clouds.
Well, like I said at the beginning on how they started, so it's a black spike came down, stopped them. So everyone recognizes it.
It hit our boat, and so we couldn't go anywhere. It was a black ship coming in, and we had saved. At the time, was a 13-year-old girl who aged to like 30, and so we're on this boat, and they're coming, and we're trying to shoot it with the cannons, trying to figure out what's going on. And we finally went, we should maybe ask her, maybe she knows. And so we talked to her. She said, they're coming to take me home. And so we're like, are they going to hurt us, or can we go with you? And she said, I don't see why, And so we ended up all getting on the black ship. And she was looking weak and ill, and I had given her like 2 medium health potions. And we had later found out that the dragon that we thought was the big evil bad monster was actually the boy we were supposed to save for the village. And the girl that we had saved was the daughter of the main ending bad guy. It was his daughter, and she was there to kill and take over the town of Dawn. So we had made the boo-boo. We did and we didn't, because we had to kill her anyways. But like we had kind of talked about amongst each other in the game, was the mayor really wasn't descriptive on who we're supposed to bring back. He said just a kid. So we didn't know it was, and we also didn't know, which it hit me in game, but it really hit me like later, is when the shield goes down, it reveals that they're like dragonborns, and like what dragons aren't they? Like a mix.
Yeah, they were like dragonborns and dragons.
Seeing if we would have known that aspect, it would have been different. But
they did know something was wrong with the town though, because you had that figure, which was the lady saying they're not who they appear to be. Right,
and we were all thinking of like maybe they were evil instead of So anyway, I ended up finding out that we had killed the boy. We talking to the mayor, and then so I went back out, tried to work out a negotiation with her, while Sierra's character earned 50 gold for performing for the guard, so I could sneak in.
She's a lovely bard.
So the deal, wink wink nudge nudge, was if I bring the mayor to him, she would let everybody else live. She just wanted to take over the town, which I have a feeling that was a lie anyways. So I went in while Sierra was entertaining the boys, and I grabbed the mayor, took him out there, and she, like, just thinking like Thanos, snapped his finger, man, she just, boom, you're gone. And so I went back in and I talked to a clergyman and explained what happened, and he was pretty much shaking his head the whole time.
Well, and as the DM, the reason why, kill the mayor instantly is to show everybody this is how powerful this girl is. Like, she's not this weak princess they all thought. She's like, hey, dead. It's like, oh, shoot. And I have half my health.
And after I figured out that she was evil, I instantly went, oh, I gave her 2 health potions. Sweet. So we ended up, I talked to the clergyman, and one of the people who...
And she's also surrounded by 50 druid skeletons.
That's
so...
Right. And
so if you're thinking, why don't you just kill her right then and there? There's 50 skeleton druids right there.
And the thing is too, like if the skeletons go into the zone, we'll say the zone, it kills them instantly. Because once you go in it, you lose half your life.
I mean, skeletons, their life is already pretty much halved.
So yeah, that would just finish them. Is I think what we went with. Yeah. So one of the people who left us abruptly, we still had. I'm like, can I use this body for a sacrifice? We don't have to kill anybody else.
Because they had to use a body to bring the shield up.
So he's like, oh yeah, that works. So we ended up sacrificing Ed and his kitty, and
still love you, Ed.
We the plan was the clergyman was going to drop it, and as soon as they come in, they was going to raise it. But he explained that the mayor last time sacrificed somebody so they could do it, and that's how we found out about the shield and what it took to bring it back up. So the shield drops, and Elsa and her little minions come running in, and we waited till they got a distance in so they can't just run back and get out right away. And shield went up, her little army went poof, and then she had split herself into two different forms. And that's where, too, like, where if you're playing and it happens, like, because I asked, I'm like, does this mean her life is split in half of the half? And Matt, didn't go, oh, yeah, that's how it is. He said, well, it depends on if it's an illusion or if she split herself in half. So we kind of had to figure that out.
And then she re-raised Ed's character.
Yep, she raised Ed's character. We were rolling pretty good that night.
Yeah.
So we
Mission
didn't take
300.
too much. And she didn't really roll that great.
No.
So we took care of business, and we left the clergyman as the new mayor of this town. And I made sure to tell him, don't be a jackass like the last mayor. If you have a problem, give them the 100% of what you need to have done.
And you give him a bunch of money to rebuild too.
And I gave him like 300 gold to rebuild, or 300 something, just because it was it was part of our oh god, because we kind of wrecked shop on it, and the 300, it not only repaired what we had done, but it was also given the opportunity to, I believe, to put
make it a little bit better.
Yeah, more business sakes. And I think their shield was still up. So yeah, that's where we left it. I think we did a long rest so we could all kind of heal up, recharge. And so tomorrow we'll go forward with that. But yeah.
Yep. A few last words for DMs too is make it fun, and every little thing, don't forget some of the little things.
Write it down if you have to.
And write it down if you have to. You don't have to write everything down, but my goodness, I'm sure my group knows that there's the littlest things I don't forget. And sometimes it comes back to bite them in the ass.
Yeah, like the door.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought to remember, because we didn't remember that the door was locked, but Matt remembered. And that goes for, like, I think players too. And I think a good way that you kind of help us out is by, at the beginning of each session, you say, okay, does anybody remember what happened last time?
Yep. So they kind of, I pick someone and it's like, hey, what happened last time? They'll kind of say what happened. I'll kind of help fill in gaps. And then, sometimes you'll go, oh yeah, then this happened, right? Like, yeah.
And if you're a player too, not just the DMs, man, write down things that you think are going to be important. And if you get like notes oh, there's a list Matt gave to me that to give us locations of these key pieces. Make sure you keep it, because I'm pretty sure he will not rewrite it for you and go, oh, here you go, you found it. You'll be like, oh, well, you should have put it in better,
Yep.
Which I think Clint has it right now.
I think Clint has it.
Because I was out for a little while, and I knew they needed it. Yeah.
And that just goes with the DM will not remember everything, so your main job is knowing what your character is able to do, what your spells can do. It does get a little tough with spells because it's so hard, but just like the app we showed you the first time, it's just like D&D. Ahead of time, just bookmark the spells you think you'll use, and that way, if you just need a quick reference, load it up really quick, read what it can do.
And items and armor. And I even bookmarked my class and my race, because, like you said, he's not going to know everybody's like if I think, and you've always appreciated, if you make the effort to try to find the information out, it's not like as annoying as just me sitting there going, "Oh, I'm going to use my sword," and Matt goes, "Oh, what's the damage on it? I don't know. What is it?"
Yeah.
Like if he sees that I actually make the effort to do it, then if I can't find it, he's not going to be so like.
Yeah, it's just like the few times too where it's like, hey, if you know your character, I won't question it unless something looks a little bit fishy. Like, because all I did was I looked at all their characters, I do a little bit of background on them just to kind of figure out what they can do. If something looks odd, I'll look it up for myself. I won't say anything that round. And then if it really seems odd, I'll be like, okay, can you tell me like where you got this from? Like, I won't question that they're wrong, because maybe they made the mistake. You know, a lot of it's D&D is very complicated. One of the most common mistakes is your level does not match with your spell level. So you can be level 9. That doesn't mean you get level 9 spells.
You have to adjust it with points, right?
So the way spells work out is because you don't have any spells because you're
nope.
So you don't have to pay attention to that. So the way spells work out is your character level can get to level 20. That's the max level. But your spell level maxed out at level 9. And not all characters can get level 9 spells. Not all characters can have spells. So I think it's like when your first level spells you get at level 1, and then I think you have to hit level 3 before you unlock second level spells, and then like 5 is it
goes up in like 3, like 2s or
like 2 or 3s
like
and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I was gonna say too, if you're just because that's what I'm rolling with is a Dragonborn. Talk to your DM because like Dragonborns don't necessarily take on their dragon. I don't. What do you want to say? Like the actual dragons.
Yeah.
They don't take on the characteristics of those. They're kind of their own people.
Yep.
But there are things that like I borrowed from the dragons, and I made sure it was okay with Matt. Like the blue dragon is obsessed with the blue sapphire. So like, because my person is lawful good, but if I see like blue sapphire, dude, I will be more apt to try to steal it. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I see the gold, I'll be more equal to splitting it. And
well, and that's just as the DM, every character has flaws. Learn what their flaws are, because there's a couple times where it's like, hey, my flaw is I will stand up to bullies. So I will purposely put a bully in that starts bullying him around, and then you just watch. Oh, he's not standing up to a bully, so that's kind of odd. I'll be like, are you sure you do that? Well, yeah. Okay, you let them do it. But then if they do stand up and make the mistake of, well, this is a bad decision, but guess what? It's his flaw. Then I'll kind of give them an inspiration, which is essentially they get a re-roll or add advantage to one of their rolls.
The laptop died, man.
Oh no.
The dragon came and ate it.
Oh no.
Sorry, guys. But I think that might be a good.
I think it's a great stopping point. Yeah.
We're not going to make these like 2 or 3 hours long. I mean, that would just be horrendous. But if you found anything here today useful, if you enjoyed the conversation, if you enjoyed hearing about our campaign. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. If you're new around here, go ahead, hit that the new subscriber button. Make sure you have the post notification bell on, so if I do upload videos, you'll get the memo on that. And if you have any questions, make sure you leave it in the comments below during the replay or whatever it is. And just remember, it'll take a couple hours for it to upload. Any
one last minute thing. So when Des and I say we talk about our D&D sessions, I don't tell him like hardly anything about what happens in the future, what's going to happen in the future. It's more of
it's
what happened during that time, or hey, this is all that happened. And I'm like, well, yeah, here's your other options you guys could have found that you didn't find, type of thing. That way it helps him learn to, oh, hey, this is what I kind of think about, type of thing. So just so you guys don't get confused.
Can you see that? I think you got that from
I got that for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had it in a bag over here. Because I was trying to find it so I could put it on my bag, my pouch. I should have worn my shirt, but I didn't.
I forgot my shirt.
But yeah, so like if you guys want to, like I said, any questions you might have, put it in the comments below. Anything you want to cover for next week's, let us know. Any kind kind of not spoilers, but teasers that we could talk about next week?
So next week, so it's kind of hard right now because essentially these guys, you know, you have two different sides. They have the left side of the world, which is filled with the good people, and the right side was filled with all the evil people. And they just found out that there was someone way up north on the left side that was slowly conquering down. So because they did all that, it's kind of up to you guys of, hey, where do you want to go now? So it's kind of one of those things. But I will say, in the next couple levels, you're going to have a huge event that happens that I don't think anyone's going to expect.
People are going to die, aren't they?
That's up to you guys.
I don't have anybody I can sacrifice anymore. Jacob! Yeah. Alright, guys, so I guess, I don't know, is there like any major saying in D&D? Like, to send the people off? Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think there is. Arrivederci? I don't know. Tonight it'll be later, probably about 8 o'clock my time. I'm going to jump on Conan.
Yeah, probably on for like an hour. Just try it out.
It'll be like a small window time, but like an hour. Matt will probably be with me. I'll probably do it for about an hour and a half. But yeah, that's 8 p.m. That's Pacific time. So remember, you got to figure out the times for that.
I haven't played it yet. I'll do bad. You come laugh at me.
It's not bad. I started making a castle.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, because I was thinking D&D when I did it. So, so yeah, I spent seriously 24 hours working on a wall, and it's not even halfway done. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching for the future. People who watch the replay. We will be back next week, probably not same time because it'll be on a Friday.
Right.
But look for it at 4 o'clock next Friday. I don't know the date. I don't really. What is next Friday?
19th.
So it'll be the 19th. That's next Friday. It'll be at 4 p.m. And you will get to hear more of the story. And we will. I don't know. We'll try to come up with something just besides story because I think we got all caught up for everybody. But maybe we'll try to find something cool that we can incorporate.
We could try to go maybe top 10 low-level bad guys. You know, what classes kind of merge well together. Something, whatever you guys want.
The concept would be cool to actually. We won't do it next week because it'll be something we'll have to sit down and work together on. Taking one of these segments and maybe doing one class or two class specific, and kind of walking through what would be a good
fit. Yeah, character creation, show them how do you create a character.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
All right, guys, you have a good rest of your evening, and I will see you back here at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.